Hi, I'm Ivy from Luckless. So I started off playing solo a very, very long time ago under my own name, and then started playing as Luckless in the middle of 2010. But playing music by yourself is kind of clearly it's very solitary, and it's a bit of being up on stage by yourself. It's such a hard slog. And I had this music that I really felt needed something more, and I met Will when he was working as a bouncer outside Wine Cellar in Waniba, and he's a drummer and he played in a handful of bands, and he'd heard the EP that I'd done on a 4-track tape machine by myself that I was just selling at shows, and he said, oh, I kind of like that, and I said, oh, I kind of need a drummer, and he said, oh yeah, and he was really keen. So we started playing songs and practicing together kind of towards the end of 2010, and we had our first show together at the Little Monster Studios Foothills gig at the beginning of 2011, which was a really lovely place to start. We've just been playing shows together ever since. So we started working towards the album pretty much when we first started playing together, because I still had a few songs that I had written before doing the EP that I was really enjoying playing, especially playing them with Will. It brought a whole new side to the songs, which was great. And so we decided that we wanted to record those and write a few more, so we wrote a few more songs together, and ended up in the studio over Easter last year, and we got all of the basic drum tracks and things done. And then over the course of the rest of the year, we just found little bits of studio time here and there, evenings or a weekend, or bits and pieces where we could fit in with our audio engineer Jordan Stone to kind of to build up the record. It was not go into the studio and everyone play live, because there's only two of us, and we've got drums, bass, guitar, percussion, piano. Will's an amazing pianist, so we've got a little bit of everything on there. So we definitely built it up over time, and it ended up taking us till the end of the year to have the final mixes. We had the mixes just about finished on Christmas Eve, and so finished them off at the beginning of this year. But it was a long, drawn-out process. But I think the album ended up better for it, because we had all of that time to develop the songs and figure out how we wanted them to sound, which was really good. I think when we started off recording, we didn't necessarily intend for the album to take a year to finish, but because of the way that it all worked out, because of the time that we were taking between doing different parts of the record, it ended up being a different record to the one that we would have ended up with if we'd recorded the whole thing in 2 weeks. It's a very different process when you're working at bits and pieces here and there, but it also gave us a lot more time to play the songs live and to imagine what we wanted to do with them, and be able to develop our ideas, and record one thing and then sit on it for a month without necessarily intending to, but coming back to it with fresh ears and saying, no, that's terrible, I want to take that out, and instead I want to do this, or say, yes, actually, while I wasn't sure about that at the time, I'm really happy that we did it that way, and yes, let's keep that. And so I think we ended up with an album that sounds quite considered and quite thoughtful, which I'm really happy with. And I don't think there's any better or worse way of recording an album. I think that when you do it in a short period of time, you get a real freshness to it. But this was just the way that we had to record ours, and that ended up shaping the album as much as the songs that we started the album out with did. So this is the record. We started talking to my friend Amy Carruthers from Paper Cut Design about doing the artwork before we'd even started recording, really, when we knew that we wanted to do a record. And we knew, when I say record, I mean an album, really, because clearly it's not vinyl. But we discussed how, because I couldn't necessarily afford to do vinyl, I wanted to make the CD a really nice thing to own. I know that people are really disparaging of CDs at the moment, but and I mean, I myself, I like to buy vinyl when I can, but instead we had to work with what we could do. And so she proposed doing a letterpress project. So letterpress is an old form of printing where you actually emboss into the card. And so everything, when you touch the album, you can actually feel all of the embossing, or everything's been pushed in to the card. And we worked with a woman called Shona Gao of Magpie Press to do the outside, which was just basically a flat sheet of card, or 2 flat sheets of card, which were then laminated together. and all of the inside is letterpressed as well. And then we got the CDs made, of course, and we put a poster in there as well to just make it a little bit more of an artifact, I guess. Amy did all of the artwork. It was just amazing. She came up with the concept of putting a moth on the front, and I don't remember this conversation, but she remembers it clearly, and she's reminded me that when she said, we should do a moth motif on the front, apparently I responded with, I love moths, they're so unfortunate, they're so ill-prepared for life, they're attracted to something that's ultimately going to kill them, and I just thought that was a really good metaphor for the kind of music that we make. So we ran with the moth motif, and the silver ink on the card. It depends on the lighting that you're in, but it's actually iridescent. It actually shines in the light. So it was 2 layers of ink, and then we had to hand assemble them all because we were doing the paper parts separately. So had a big working bee to assemble 500 records, which was, or albums. I call it records, but it's really albums. So that was a challenge, but I think we've ended up with something that I'm really proud of. I'm really happy to have been able to collaborate with Amy and Shona to put this together, because I think it's quite special. Luckless, I think, will continue on as an entity, but I'm not quite sure what form it's going to take in the future. I'm really looking forward to, after having spent 18 months getting this album out, I'm really looking forward to going back to writing and going back to creating something new. I know that the album will be new for a lot of people, and it's really exciting, but we've spent so long creating this that I'm really looking forward to creating something new within the Luckless sphere. And I don't quite know what form it will take in the future, how it will sound, or what things I'll be into when I make more Luckless music, but it will be nice to be moving forward and presenting something new, as well as still celebrating what we've done on this record, because I'm really proud of what we've managed to achieve. So, thank you so much for watching this, and thank you so much to Cheese on Toast for being interested. I'm Ivy, I'm from Luckless, and our album is out very, very soon. You can buy this hopefully at your local record store, but you can also get it on our Bandcamp or on our website, which is www.luckless.co.nz, or our Bandcamp is soluckless.bandcamp.com, and hopefully I'll see you out at a show sometime.